Welcome to the Collab Podcast. My name is Michelle.
And my name is Devin.
On this podcast, we explore concepts of self-mastery and community collaboration
Through in-depth panel discussions and intimate interviews with dance's most prominent figures.
Yeah, she my peanut butter jelly snack, pull it ride, but she painting. That's my sunshine when it's raining. That's my boo, yeah. When I'm all alone, she pulled through.
Welcome back to the Collab Podcast, everyone. My name is Michelle, and I'm here with my co-host and sister Devin. And our guest today is a successful dancer and choreographer based out of San Diego, California. Kevin Nierva began his dance career in 2009 with Indecisive Dance Crew, or better known as IDK. While in high school, Kevin danced with Otay Ranch High School all male, and using his experience and expertise, later established himself as assistant director for Ill Habits. Parting ways with San Diego in 2018, Kevin then moved north to San Francisco for college. Throughout his career, Kevin has received mentorships from notables in the community like Devin Pornell, Kiko James, Daniel Arena, Mikey and Robbie Messina, and Pat Cruz. With nearly 12 years and 6,300 hours of dance in his life, Kevin is well on his way to becoming a master in his craft. Holding dance close to him and pursuing his passion, Kevin joined award-winning team, The Company, where he is currently a dancer and choreographer. Kevin is a source of inspiration and motivation in both the Southern and Northern California dance communities, and we are so excited to have him on our show today. Please welcome our very special guest, Kevin Nierva.
Welcome, Kevin.
Wow, thank you. That was great. That was like spot on.
Thank you so much for joining us today. It was funny when we were writing the intro, I wanted to put something in there about I feel like hearing the introduction, people that knew you in San Diego would probably squeal hearing the name Kevin Nierva. And I don't know, there's just some sort of presence that you have. If you name drop Kevin Nierva, it kind of has a squealing effect. Oh my God, I know Kevin.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of funny to me, I guess I wouldn't think of myself in that type of way where I squeal when I hear my name, because it's just that's just my name, But yeah, it's kind of funny to think about it now that I hear it. But I guess it sounds really cool. But yeah, it's funny because people who don't actually know me, they would call me KJ because of my username. But I actually never go by that. It's kind of funny because all my friends that would make fun of me would call me KJ, but all my close friends know I go by Kevin. So yeah, I go by Kevin, which is, yeah, that's it.
Is there a reason why you picked your username that way then, to have it be KJ Nierva?
Yeah, I don't know. I think when I was little, I was just trying to come up with a username, and you know how usernames, it's not really just your name, or you want to make it cool. And I know when I was growing up, I wanted to be called KJ when I was in elementary school, just because I thought it was cool. But then my family didn't want to call me that because it meant killjoy to them. So they didn't want to call me KJ. But I decided to make that my username when I was I don't know, in middle school, and then it kind of just stuck with me throughout my the rest of my years living. And then I noticed people started to call me KJ, and I was like, oh, that's funny. No, that's not my name. Or I never go by KJ, but I guess it makes sense because that's all they see in social media. So yeah, I just kept it like that. And then whenever people would meet me, I just say, oh, I'm Kevin. I go by Kevin. So
Now, Kevin, I don't personally know you, but I've followed your career because everyone in the Southern California dance community knows who you are. So I want you to tell us a little bit about how you actually got started in dance. I know you started out with IDK, but what was the motivation to actually start dancing?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I grew up around a lot of talent. I guess I think my family was very I don't know, they would do a lot. Like I have a really like cool family that like does a lot of things, like whether that be like drawing, you know, uh just other cool stuff that was always like inspiring to me. And like I felt like even like growing up as a kid, I would see dance a lot. Like I think one of a big factor that like helped me uh get into dance would be like participating in like what it's called a Beagle Club. It's kind of like so my family's from Beagle, and they have like a little organization here in San Diego, or I guess in California, where they like hold events where they like uh, you know, have all the kids come together and like put make a show and like put like dance performances, have like these plays, all these like activities for kids to do like every Christmas, if you will. And like I was always a part of that, and like they would always have like these like dance numbers, and like I always wanted to be a part of it as a kid, but like it was only for like the teenagers, right? And I was like in elementary school, and I would like always look at those kids and be like, oh man, I wish I could do that. I want to be on that performance, blah blah blah. And then eventually I got there, and yeah, we would like hold annual events, and like I'd perform every Christmas, just doing like dance numbers, and like also just seeing stuff on like social media or like YouTube at the time, like all the music videos or just stuff on TV, seeing like So You Think You Could Dance, all anything that involved dance, I was just always like drawn to it. So it kind of like spoke to me, if you will. And like, yeah, I do believe that's like what I was, or like what I love to do. And yeah, I don't know.
So I feel as though, again, as Michelle kind of alluded to earlier, you've created such a strong presence within San Diego. And I want to talk about like some of your most favorite moments, like after you started dancing. I know that you really like paved the way for all male. I remember going to some of those competitions and just feeling like this was a new wave of energy. So can you talk about like your experience going from IDK into something like all male?
Yeah. That's like pretty much my whole like dance career, like IDK and on. Like it's kind of, it's not a blur, but it's like sometimes I forget. I not forget, but like I don't think about it a lot to like go back to those times. But they were great times. Like IDK was like my dream team, and like honestly, if it weren't for my brother, I forgot to mention that in the past question. If it weren't for my brother, like I wouldn't have like been dancing at all, or like been able to like join IDK at the time, because he was a big reason why like I knew about the team, and like I was able to go to the auditions with him. So yeah, shout out to my brother for that. But I think in terms of like moments that I don't know, that I just look back to and just like appreciate, I think just all the times I had at IDK, whether that be rehearsal, competition days. Yeah, especially as a kid, like being in that environment, I think I'm just really thankful to have that type of experience, like at such a young age, to help like me kind of like blossom into you know, a more mature, just like kind of like, well, not how do I say this? Like I feel like my experiences from IDK as a young kid like has helped me like in my future years, like going into high school. Like I kind of like knew more than like a typical like kid from, you know, kid from the South Side, like barely get into dancing with, I guess. But yeah, there is just a bunch of competitions and performances that I really love from IDK. And then moving on into Old Habits, same thing. You know, I pretty much like lived like that same life, like from like elementary school all the way into high school, just like being a part of you know, these junior dance competitions like Body Rock, Vibe, and like those are all the things I looked forward to. And then even like going into all male, I had lots of fun with that. And yeah, I feel like I put most of my creative like side into all male, since like I was kind of like leading that at the time when I was in high school, because my brother started Otay Ranch all male, and then like after he left high school, that's when I went to high school, and he kind of just like gave that like torch to me, and like just like let me be responsible for it. So I kind of just used that to my advantage and like try to get better as a dancer, choreographer, director, if you will. And yeah, so I think all male is definitely a big factor to the skill sets I have as a creative, for sure. Definitely miss like just rehearsing at the pavilion, or just at the park in front of my house, just like messing around with the boys. And yeah, having like this friendly competition with Olympian. I know Dylan goes Olympian, and like he's the homie for sure. And it was super like nice, and a great competition to have with my bros at Olympian, because honestly all my friends that I actually like hung out with went to Olympian, so like we were really close. So it was nice like being able to like have my squad and their squad just like have a little get down, if you will, every like now and then. And just also being able to like have a South Bay Mill, that's basically a little collab between Otay Ranch, Morse, and Olympian. We were able to do that during my high school years, just to get together, have performance, even like compete at Del Mar. And yeah, that was just honestly my favorite year. Looking back at it, the year we just met up and had SBAM do our thing. Yeah, and yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm like going down memory lane right now with this. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's it.
I think it's great, Kevin, that you brought up the point about how you were able to run your own team at Otay Ranch, but then also have these moments where you were competing against your friends at Olympian, and then you all came together to do your collaboration as the South Bay All Male. It's kind of, I mean, I don't want it to sound cheesy, but it's kind of like what you see in movies, right? Like you battle it out, you like do a dance battle, right? Like you bring it, and then at the end, after, you kind of all come together as friends, and there's sort of a happy ending. And I certainly don't mean to like make it seem cliche, but I think it's really beautiful to like have those moments where you can separate the competition from friendship, right? Because when you're in that moment and you're competing and you're on stage in front of the judges, it's go time, it's full out, it's 100% serious. But backstage, you can hug your bros, you can say congratulations, you go back to kind of being normal. And I love that balance. And I think that's one of the things, particularly in this pandemic, that I miss. Like, we don't get to go to competitions anymore. We don't get to see people in person. So kind of on that note, I want to see, I know that you're dancing with the company now. How has the pandemic affected your dance goals, or even affected the way that you interact as a team?
Yeah, I feel like the pandemic kind of hit everyone like in the same way. Like we just couldn't go anywhere. We were just stuck at home. Like, I don't know, it's kind of depressing now that I'm like talking about it, but like, I don't know. I feel like it like held me back from doing like a lot of the things that I wanted to do, or like was supposed to do, right? Like last year I was supposed to travel for the first time and teach in China, but the pandemic hit, and I was pretty bummed about it. So I wasn't able to do that. I haven't. It was a while since I like was last in the Bay when it first started, and like I just hella missed my team and just being in the studio over there with them. Yeah, I feel like it's honestly hard, and like it kind of took a toll on like my mental health for dance, if you will. Like I was just like really unmotivated, just like I'm just like sitting at home doing nothing, playing video games, and dance is like kind of like not even there anymore. I mean, it's always there, but like I guess I wasn't even thinking about dance like that, because like I feel like before the pandemic I was like always thinking about dance every day, like, oh, I'm gonna listen to this song that I'm about to make piece to, blah blah blah, and like, oh, I'm gonna be at the studio, like working on some stuff. But like, it wasn't like that anymore, and it was kind of like a weird shift. Sorry, that I don't know. It was kind of a weird phase for me, but I think like as the months came by and things started to settle down like just a little bit, I was thankful enough for Kinjas to have their little what's it called? Yeah, they call it a project, but at the time it was called a Kinja's training initiative, and they set like a flyer out saying like, oh, like we were looking for some dancers that like want to get down, blah blah blah. Like, and I looked at that as like an opportunity for me to like, I could like, I could do this. Like, I could like start dancing again. Like, I'm gonna just try to push myself to like dance more and like, you know, do what I love. And I kind of just use that as my motivation to like get back into it. And I think it paid off for sure. I was able to be a part of that first season cast, thankfully. Yeah, and we were able to do a lot of stuff within that period of time, and yeah, those months like really pushed me to be, you know, to like just think outside of my box and like just really get back into that like dancing mindset where I'm just like thinking about what I want to make and like you know, just training and stuff like that. So like I'm really thankful for the opportunity, considering that like I wasn't able to do all the dance stuff that I was supposed to do last year, but thankfully like they provided that opportunity for me, and I was able to be a part of that. So it was a blessing, really.
Yeah, for sure. Dance kind of got turned upside down for us this past year. But as you said, dance will always be there. So even if we need to take a break and kind of do something else and come back to it, it's on no timeline. You know, it'll always be there. I do kind of want to talk a little bit about, because you have such strong roots in San Diego and then you moved over to the South Bay. Can you tell us a little bit about the differences between like the styles of training, artistically, what it looks like, and just kind of like, have you been able to bridge both of them in your style of choreography?
Right. Okay. That's a good question, actually. Yeah, I feel like growing up here in San Diego, like we're kind of like, we kind of just came from like the ground up, you know, like just using whatever we had, like dancing at parks and stuff like that, or like like in the streets or parking lots. So I feel like down here we definitely had to work for a lot of the things that we wanted in terms of like dancing and like, you know, getting ready for competitions or just training at least, and like finding studios to rent out, or just like, yeah, I don't know. I for sure saw a difference when I moved, because over there, in particularly with the company, they have their own school or their own dance school, and they have their own studio, and it's honestly like a super like sick place. It like honestly feels like home to me. Even right when I like stepped in the right when I stepped in the studio, it definitely felt something new and refreshing. So I feel like with my years being in the Bay compared to here, I think at least for my experience with dancing, since I like came from, you know, South Side, I was with IDK. We didn't really have like our own studio where we would like practice outside, stuff like that. I feel like dancing in the Bay, at least at Westlake, that's the name of the school over there. It's they're very professional, right? Like they have all these teachers. They have like a wide range of what's it called, programs. So like ballet, a whole bunch of other stuff that that they have over there, and I think that that plays a lot into like how like professional they are kind of, and they've been having that school for like years too. So like stepping into that studio and like knowing how they run things, I was like, damn, you guys, like, this is real shit. Like, you guys do, like, this isn't no joke over here. So like like I'm thinking about like the training I had, I'm like, damn, I lucky was not that well trained. Now that I think about it, like they would say all these terms like when we'd be blocking stuff, or when Pat would be teaching, they'd say these terms, right? And I'd be like, I'd raise my hand and be like, wait, what's anchor, or like what's stacked, or like, you know, stuff like that. And then like they like kind of like laugh, but not like at like a mean way, but just like because like I'm new there, you know, I'm the new kid, so I don't know all these terms that they usually go by. But I think like I definitely learned a lot being in that space, and it's definitely has helped me be a better student, be a better teacher. And like, yeah, they just run things very like professionally. I always use that word, but that's the only word I could think of, because like over here we kind of just like we kind of just like hustle and like just like get our shit done, you know, like work our asses off. But then over there they're kind of like more, I feel like, I mean, they do have that as well, you know. I'm not saying that we don't like work hard. Of course we work hard, but like in a way where it's like how would I say this? In a way where it's like professional, dude. Like I swear they're professionals over there, and like no means to hype them up, but like I really do look at the company and the whole Westlake program over there as professionals, and I'm just really thankful to have experience being a part of that environment, because like we definitely don't have that here. You know, we don't have like a whole ass school and like a bunch of like great teachers. I mean, I'm sure there is like studios, you know, of course, but like in terms of my like dance history, if you will, like I didn't come from that type of environment. So I feel like a lot of the kids that are at Westlake, I feel like they're really privileged to like have such a great like program there that is definitely like worth, and like yeah, that's just good at what they do. At where I is definitely like having like this difference between like coming from a place where like, you know, there isn't like well dance educated people. I mean, I'm sure there was, but like I don't think that like, my directors as well, like they were great directors like Kiko and Devin, and you know, the rest of the names that you said in the beginning, like they're great directors too, but they also came from that same environment as me, you know, like growing up in Paradise Hills, just like dancing in the garage and like just.
Before we jump back in, I did want to touch on what you were saying. You know, I so much appreciate like you comparing the difference between like your experience here to your experience up there. And I think one of the things, at least that I took away from it, is that, you know, when you were here, and you even talked about it, you kind of had to grow up fast, because it was peers leading peers, right? And you didn't necessarily have like the already in place structure, which is probably why it seemed so like professional and put together, right? Because like dancing down here, like you were saying, like you had to find a park, you had to rent a studio, you had to like just dance in your garage, and it was kind of this like mad scramble, and everyone was kind of in survival mode to like accomplish what you needed to be competition ready or stage ready, right? And so going from that environment to this environment that seems so structured, and you have all these like great teacher advisors, yeah, it's totally like night and day, right? But I think
for sure,
that is probably what makes you like as successful as you are, and people look to you for that inspiration and motivation, because you've had such a well-rounded experience, because you've been able to hustle, but then you've also had this kind of like nice structure, and not a lot of people get exposure to that, and I think that that's amazing.
For sure. Yeah, I think moving to the Bay after high school was definitely the right move for me. It's funny because like when I was in high school, I was never even thinking about moving to the Bay or like saw that as an option. Like I thought I was just gonna go to state and like just stay here the whole time and like probably like try to join 220 or cookies or whoever's here. But yeah, I think after my boy Lem, shout out Lem, he moved to the Bay after high school. He's like 2 years older than me, so he's like class of 16, and he moved to the Bay, and then he uh started to be a part of the Westlake program, and he was on APT, eventually a company, and like every time he'd come back home, he'd like tell me all about it and like how crazy it is over there. And then like I would just be super like inspired and just like I after that, like I really wanted it to move there. Like he would tell me about all the things that they would do, all these drills, all these like training assets that they do that help him as a dancer. And I'm like, damn, I want to do that stuff. Like why can't I do that stuff right now? Like blah blah blah. But yeah, after he moved, I decided I wanted to move as well. So of course I applied to state over there, and thankfully I got in. And it's funny because I didn't even get into like San Diego State, and I was like, okay, that's definitely a sign. Like I definitely got to move out of here. So like, and it was a good change of scenery too, and just like being able to be on my own and like not having my parents tell me what to do. I mean, I love my parents, but you know how it is, like growing up with them. But yeah, like it was just definitely a great experience for me to have, like, and like I feel like I was able to connect with a lot of great people that that I call family now. So yeah, it was definitely the move to live in the Bay. Uh, yeah, definitely miss being there right now for sure. But I visit every often.
Yeah, everything happens for a reason. And I do want to circle back and sort of as a follow-up question, if you could, like, based on your experience, if you could give San Francisco, like the Bay Area dance community, some advice, like something that San Diego does really well that you think could improve the way that the community in the Bay like works, right? What advice
Hmm.
would that be? And vice versa. What's something that the Bay does really well that you think San Diego should take note of?
Hmm. That's a hard question, just because like I don't know if I'm in that like authority to give that, or like that like that position to give my insight on that. But I could try. I think yeah, I feel like it's very different because in the Bay, actually now that I think about it, it is kind of similar. But like in the Bay, it's kind of hard to get like lots of opportunities there. Or I think there's definitely more studios down here, or more opportunity at least. There's definitely a bigger community in SoCal compared to NorCal. And I feel like the community here is more like tight, if you will. I feel like a lot of San Diego dancers know each other, and like, or at least seen each other take class and like say what's up and all that. But I feel like for some reason in the Bay, it's definitely like kind of like as if like there's these cliques. Like, oh, we got company in Daly City, we got people in Oakland, we got San Jose, and it's not like it's like purposely like, oh, like separate. I think definitely throughout the years they've tried to make it more connected, and like at least from what I see, or from what I hear. I could be totally wrong about this because I'm not even from there. But just like from learning about the dance community there and everything, yeah, I think the community there is definitely getting better at you know providing opportunities, sorry, in the Bay. and collaborating with each other. And I think if I were to give any advice, like from like me being from San Diego, I don't know about the like I really don't know, to be honest, because like I'm still trying to expose myself to the rest of the community aside from company, right? Because like I feel like company, we're kind of like in our own bubble, and we still like try our best to like, you know, be a part of the other communities like in San Jose, Oakland, and stuff like that. And I still have to like I still haven't done as much or like been a part of those other communities as much as I'd like to, for sure. So yeah, it's kind of hard to give advice for I guess the whole NorCal community. You know, I've only been there for like a year or two. I'm still learning a lot more about it, for sure. But I think I guess with the company, I don't think I would give any advice, like, because like they're so like on top of their shit already. Like I can't even like compete with it or like, you know, challenge it, because like they're so good at what they do. And like yeah, and it honestly does make sense like that they are good at what they do, because you know they do this shit every day, and like they're really about it. So props to them for that. I think if I were to switch it back to San Diego and what we could do compared to the Bay, shit, I don't even know. It's hard because like I come from such different backgrounds than other people in San Diego, like being from South Side, you know, because there's also like, you know, North Side San Diego people, like, you know, people from 14-9, you know, people on cookies, like they have a totally different experience too. And like I feel like at least right now, like Studio Effects is kind of like the only like studio that's open and that's like really like holding it down for San Diego. So props to them. And they're just really on their feet about dance. And like I was you know, blessed enough to teach there last night for the first time. So it was great, you know, sharing and dancing in my hometown, like after a long time not dancing at all with people. So yeah, I think each community, each, like, you know, SoCal, NorCal, I think they're doing their thing, to be honest. Like they're really trying to hold it down for everyone, and I really do see that and admire it, for sure. So I don't think I would give any like type of advice or like anything that they could work on, at least. Like I don't know, I don't think I'm in that like position to say anything about that, just because I'm currently a part of it. I'm currently still learning and currently just still watching. But I think considering that I am a part of it, that I am like watching these things happen, I'm definitely inspired, and you know, would love to see us do better in any type of way. And not saying that we're not, but we're definitely on a good flow right now. I think I don't know.
I love that you, and I mean this in the nicest way possible, I love that you had such a hard time with that question, because I think it goes back to what I was saying earlier about you just being a very like well-rounded person. Like you've had exposure to the style in the Bay, you've had exposure to the style down here, and you've seen the beauty and the value in both, as opposed to like trying to pit them against each other. And if you had an answer, I think that would have been fine too. But I think the fact that you struggled with it really speaks to your personality as a dancer, because you've really just kind of like taken it all in like a sponge. And I really like value and appreciate that about you, Kevin. So good job for having
Thank
such
you.
a hard time.
Yeah, I don't know if that was like a trick question or if like I was really trying to like answer it, but like I just I like didn't want to low key because I don't want to come off as like, oh, I know everything. Oh, you gotta listen to me. I have the answers. You stuff like that. So like, yeah, it's honestly just, yeah. I guess I'm just thankful enough to be a part of both communities, you know, because like not a lot of people get to have, you know, both, if you will. So it's definitely a good thing for me, I guess.
For sure. And I promise that I wasn't like trying to trick you. I was honestly just,
No, you're good.
just curious to hear your opinion.
For sure. No problem.
Well, and I think it's time to try and trick you, Kevin, because we're going to transition to our rapid fire. So we're going to set a timer for 45 seconds, and Devin is going to go through a list of questions. The goal is to answer as quick as possible and get through as many questions as you can in the 45 seconds. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, Devin, are you ready? Perfect. All right, on your mark, get set, go.
Choreo or freestyle?
Yo, it's hard because I like both. But choreo if you just want to learn stuff, but freestyle if you just want to like dance. Obviously.
If you had 4 extra hours in your day, what would you do with them?
4 extra hours. It's so, I was just thinking of playing more video games. That's so bad. But that's what I love, playing video games, but yeah, that's what I do.
If you could travel anywhere in the world right now, where would you go?
Oh, Japan for sure. I definitely want to go to Japan.
One word to describe your dance style.
Time. I'll let you finish answering this though, Kevin.
Oh, okay. One word. That I think maybe fuck it, I'll say swag. But it's funny because like I remember in the Kinjaz program thing that we were doing, we had like this little session where we were like talking about other people, and like we had to write words about the other person, and we didn't really know each other at the time that much, but we knew how we danced, and like for some reason they put, or not for some reason, but a lot of the people put steez, and I didn't even think about that at the time, or think about that as myself. But then now that I think about it, steez definitely makes sense for me. So it's kind of similar to swag, if you will. But yeah, it was just interesting to me.
I love that. I love that. There's one more question on here that we didn't get to, but I'm going to ask it anyway. You know, in the preparation that we did for this interview, you said that you consider dance your career. And so I'm interested to know what your dream job is.
Honestly, like I just want to like travel and like just teach everywhere, share my craft, my knowledge, get down with people, meet people. Yeah, and just like make a living off what I love to do. I think that's the most simple answer I can think of. Like, and whether that be traveling and teaching, or like having my own studio, or like, you know, having like my own online thing now, I guess, since like COVID and like not everyone is dancing in person, stuff like that. I think just using dance as my hustle to make a living off it. I don't know. Yeah. Honestly, like dance is like the only thing that's on my mind in terms of like what I want to do for my life, I guess. But also I got to consider like, you know, it's not going to be like forever. So obviously I got to think about like, you know, backup stuff, like in case I can't dance anymore. So that's why I'm going to school, obviously. But yeah, I just really want to pursue dance, and I wouldn't say it's like my career right now, like just because I'm still a student, you know, I'm still going to school. Obviously it can't be like my full-time career, but I think moving forward after I do finish school, that's definitely what I want to do for my life. So
Are you going to school for a dance degree?
No, I'm actually studying in communications. Uh, yeah, I used to be a kinesiology major, and then after I took anatomy, I was like, fuck this, I'm out. And I just went the easy route. I was like, man, I'm honestly going to school for my parents, make my parents happy. I might as well just fucking get a easy general major degree, whatever, and like be fine with that. And I think communications is like kind of like a well-rounded like thing. So like I was like, all right, I'll just do that.
That's so funny. I changed my major because I was pursuing nursing and I took anatomy, physiology or whatever. And then I had to take organic chemistry. And I was like,
Mhm.
I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm
for
out.
sure. It was just so hard, and like learning all these things like the bones and stuff like that. I just wasn't into it. And I thought I would be like going into college just because like I was into like, or I like watching like chiropractic videos or people getting their backs cracked and like just I don't know, I was just into that. So I was like, maybe I'll just like think about getting into chiropractic or something. And then I realized I had to learn all this stuff about the body. I'm like, man, this is boring. Like, why do people want to spend their hours learning about the body? Like, that's just me though. You know what I mean? People probably are into that, but it just wasn't my thing.
Yeah, they could be using that time playing video games.
For sure. Yeah, definitely.
So that came up in the rapid fire. You said that you would spend your 4 extra hours playing video games. What video games would you play during that time? Or what video games are you enjoying right now?
Yeah, so I'm definitely into Call of Duty, playing some Warzone. I used to be into Fortnite, you know, the typical like games like kids would play nowadays. It's actually so bad that I say that I use playing video games as my extra 4 hours, just because like that's literally what I do most of my day. I wake up, I play games, I try to dance a little bit, you know, watch stuff with my girlfriend, and then get back into playing games. Yeah, it's really bad. It's a really bad habit, but I need to I need to break out of it because like it's not that healthy.
No
I did
need to feel like guilty about it. You know, I feel like what you just said is so relatable to so many dancers right now because you're like
Yeah, for
limited
sure.
on what you can do, right? So don't feel bad.
For sure, yeah.
I did see on your Instagram, Kevin, that you made a very delicious looking meal. It was like steak and like mushrooms. Do you like
Yeah.
cooking?
You know, I like watching cooking videos. Like I watch a lot of Master Chef. I watch a lot of like stuff on YouTube and like just people cooking stuff. Like I'm into food for sure. I wish I was good at cooking. I think the best thing I could cook is steak, and that shit's easy though. You know what I mean? And you just like just put it on the pan and flip it, and like just make sure it's like it has a nice cook. And I think I cook my steaks pretty good. At least pretty recently, it was my dad's birthday, and I cooked him a steak, and it was nice. So I think if I were to cook, I would definitely just cook steak. And I also love steak, but that's
too.
like the only thing I'm like really like that I could cook. Anything else, I probably shouldn't touch it.
Since we're on the topic of food, I feel like I have to ask what is your favorite food to eat in San Diego and what is your favorite food to eat in the Bay?
That's funny because it's very similar. So like I love Mexican food, like you know, carne asada fries, you know, Cali burritos or California burritos. Like it's definitely like a San Diego thing, you know what I mean? And like we hella like rep that shit too. Whenever we go to like somewhere outside of San Diego, we're like, oh, we got the best Mexican food, blah blah blah, you know. And it's funny because like over there in the Bay, I would hella like you know shit on the other Mexican joints there. But they have this one place. It's not a Mexican joint, but it's a Filipino Mexican fusion place. It's called Senior Sisig, and I used to work there when I was living there at the time. But they have they have really good food there. So it's basically just like sisig as their like main protein, and it's just mixed with like Mexican food. So like if you think of carne asada fries, like just take out the carne asada and put like sisig on top of it. It's pretty much what it is, and I honestly love it. Like Senior Sisig is probably one of my like favorite places to eat at. So yeah, Senior Sisig, and then we got the authentic Mexican American food here.
That sounds so good. That sounds
Mm-hmm.
amazing. Yeah, if you
Yeah.
could fuse the two, I'm all for that for sure. Sisig on
For
some
sure.
fries, yes.
Definitely.
So Kevin, what's next for you? I mean, I know that we talked a lot about kind of where your headspace is at and what you're doing now, but what is going to be next in Kevin's career in the next 5-10 years?
It's an interesting question. I don't know, especially just considering the whole pandemic, and I'm not sure how things are, like what the future looks like right now. But I think what I want it to look like, definitely trying to get back into dancing more, because I don't think I've been doing much with dance lately, aside from like the Kinja stuff, and little jobs here and there. But I would definitely like to see myself dancing a lot more, like kind of like having a routine, if you will, because right now my routine's whack. I just play video games, dance whenever I feel like dancing and stuff like that. So like I definitely plan to just get on my shit with dancing more, possibly like having like online programs, and just having more opportunities to teach, because I mean I love teaching. I taught last night, and it felt great for sure, being in my hometown and teaching, and even like company would have Zoom rehearsals, and like there'd be times or there was one time where I taught, and I just really enjoyed being able to teach. Yeah, so I think definitely teaching more. Hopefully the pandemic is like away, and like I'm able to like travel and like teach at other places. And I definitely want to like make more content, like make more concept videos and stuff like that. It's always been a dream of mine to like have my own productions with dance and stuff like that, especially growing up and watching like Keone, Pat, Lyle drop all these crazy videos that are sick, and like I'm like, dude, like I want to do that. I want to be that. So definitely like wanting to be like my inspirations. Like I consider Dev a super big inspiration, and he's doing his thing too. I think he's pretty successful as a dancer, and same with like Pat, of course, Lyle, Keone. They're all big names, and you know really up there in the game still. So I definitely look at them as like my idols and people that I want to be, just in my own way for sure. I still want to like stay true to myself and not like fully be like, oh, I want to be exactly like Lyle. I'd like to be like him, but not. I don't want to be him. Actually, maybe I do, but because he's so dope. But yeah, I definitely want to be like him, and or like my inspirations for sure, and like have my own type of like name for myself for sure.
That's a great goal. I mean, the fact that you even have those ideas in your mind, I think takes a lot of focus and it takes a lot of motivation. And I think that, yeah, hopefully the pandemic is over sooner rather than later, now that vaccinations have been, released and more people are getting them, and we can finally go back to a world of normalcy where we can get out in the community and connect and just be together and dance.
For sure, definitely.
In light of everything that's going on, we like to wrap our episodes by asking our guests what is good in the dance community right now. And so I'd love your opinion, Kevin. I mean, I know that you feel like you've kind of been out of touch with it, but in your opinion, what's good in the dance community right now?
I think what's good in the dance community right now, I think we're all trying to like be better as people, and sorry, and educate ourselves more with, being like anti-racist, or like, all the stuff with like the Black Lives Matter movement, and even like stuff like that. I think like the dance community has, like, we're trying, if you will, to like be better, and like, having these conversations and like being a part of these events where we learn and unlearn things to be better people for, the community, for sure. Yeah, like the company, and I'm sure a lot of other teams in the West Coast, I know that we've been a part of these events where they have conversations about all these things, and where they teach stuff about like being anti-racist and stuff like that. And like I noticed, because it's in like a Zoom call, and I could see like other people that that I know, that are from different teams, or just that are like big names or whatever. Like I think it's definitely great seeing like people in the community like wanting to be better as people, and wanting to learn more in order to be like better guests in the hip hop scene, considering that it's not our culture, like we didn't start this shit, you know what I mean? We're definitely guests in that environment, and learning more about it, and like being more aware about how things are, or should be at least, definitely will help. I don't know. I think it was just good. It's just nice to see that people want to learn and be better guests in the community, for sure.
I love that so much. That was such a great answer. And, Kevin, even though, we've been together in the community, like I said at the beginning of the episode, I didn't personally know you, but I am so happy that we got a chance to talk to you today. I feel a little bit more connected with you. I've gotten to know about your goals. I've gotten to know about your views and your perspectives. And I just really respect you. And on behalf of everyone in the dance community, thank you so much for your contributions. And I had so much fun talking to you today.
Same. Thank you guys so much. Like I've been, honestly, going into this podcast, I was scared. Like, I don't want to say like the wrong things, and like I haven't been like, I never done this, you know what I mean? And I haven't been interviewed like this, or like have a conversation where it's recorded and stuff like that. And I always would see like, I always would listen to stuff like that too, like a Kinja's podcast, or even like your guys's with like, all my other friends. So I think it was definitely a cool opportunity to be a part of it, and I appreciate you guys giving me that opportunity.
Thank you so much, Kevin. We really appreciate you too. And hopefully we'll have another conversation like this in the future, because I feel like there was just so much that we talked about today, but so much more that I want to ask you about. So hopefully like in the future, we'll be able to connect again, and you'll be able to tell us like, you learned to cook more things, and like you're teaching more, traveling.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, that'd be nice, for sure.
Thank you so much for listening to the Collab podcast.
If you enjoyed this episode, please show your support by leaving a review on iTunes.
And be sure to subscribe to our show wherever you get your podcast.
The conversation continues over on Instagram and YouTube with highlights from today's episode.
When you on the way, make that move. Can't stay dead, no, that's my boo. Yeah, that's boo.